Hi, everybody. Welcome to Joyful Stories. I am Louise Pistol, author of the book Discover Your Joy. And we are here today to talk about my most favorite topic, which is joy. And I have joining me today Ellie Christatello. And Ellie, tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Ellie. I am 22. I live with my husband and our 14-month-old daughter. I'm a student right now. I'm studying English and community health in college, and I love music and blogging and writing and talking about joy.
Well, you have got a full life, my goodness.
Yeah.
Great. How do you define joy? What does joy mean to you?
Yeah, so joy to me, I would define it as something deeper than just like a happy feeling or something surface level. I feel like joy is something that you can experience even when you're facing hard things, because I do believe that you can choose to express joy even when things are difficult. So, especially, as a Christian, I do believe, joy is a fruit of the Spirit. I believe that joy is a gift that God gives you and that you can experience in very hard times. So I would just say, that joy is something that's deeper than, just feeling good vibes or feeling happy things, and it's something that is available to all of us, even when we're facing difficult times.
Yes, I totally agree. And now you have a husband and a baby, and all of that I'm sure brings joy to your life.
Yeah,
But
they do.
yes, but tell us what is the most joyful thing in your life? How has joy impacted your life?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, joy it's been a journey for me, definitely, to experience joy in my life. It's not something um, that I always had. I would say as a young teen, especially, I was actually a very withdrawn and melancholy person. And there was even a time where I felt like joy was a very fake emotion. I felt like it was something that people just did, to seem happy when they weren't feeling happy. Um, but over time, I really learned that joy is something that's deeper than that and accessible to us. Um, and yeah, now I can definitely say that joy impacts all aspects of my life, and um, it's something that I've had to definitely work on and cultivate. Um, but it's something that's really improved my well-being overall and my relationships. But it's definitely been a journey to get there.
Yeah, and I like that. Just a couple minutes ago,
Yeah.
you mentioned that joy is a fruit of the spirit,
Mhm.
and if that is something we can hold in our consciousness and remember that it is a God-given emotion,
Mhm.
it does maybe make it easier to seek joy in our lives. So tell me this, how do you maintain joy in your everyday life? What do you do on a daily basis to kind of keep that at the forefront?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, in a lot of different ways. I mean, I pray a lot. I think it's something that I have to like constantly talk to God about, because it's really easy for me, especially, to let little things really get me and can kind of like set me in a bad mood for the rest of the day if I'm not diligent about, constantly reminding myself that I can be joyful even when things are not going my way. Um, I would say even how I choose to use my time can affect my joy a lot. I find that when I'm really focusing on my family and focusing on my priorities, and not, being complacent, that actually like helps me to be more joyful, because I feel more purposeful in my day to day life. And I do like to set aside time to do things that I enjoy. Like I found when I was, especially as a new mom and figuring out how to do life with a newborn and everything, I found that I really did have to set aside time to, spend time with friends maybe, or take some downtime, because it was a very stressful, first little bit in motherhood and everything. So setting aside time to do things that I do enjoy with people that I do enjoy being around. And then also just remembering that, my future self, I don't want to look back at this time that I had now and be like, wow, I wasted all that time being discouraged, or I wasted all my time, looking at the downside of things when life was actually, pretty good and better than I thought. So sometimes I'll do that little mental exercise, be like, in a few years, maybe this thing that is bothering you right now, it won't matter very much, or you won't remember it. So there's no reason to be discouraged about it right now. And instead I choose to be, joyful in those moments as well.
Yeah, it is something that we have to consciously choose, and we have to consciously look for the good in every situation, even though things maybe aren't going our way. I mean, hopefully there is an element of positivity there that you can find and hold on to kind of carry us through that situation.
Yes, definitely.
So, Ellie, what about, how do you try to share your joy or inspire others to be joyful instead of letting the people around you kind of, I'll say, wallow in their negativity? And people will do that. How do you help people not to do that, and to share that joy is something they can choose?
For sure. Yeah, I would say, in my in-person relationships and things like that, I definitely am somebody that if I'm around people that are very negative or discouraged, it really affects me, and it can make me feel like that. So I always try to consciously think of ways that I can outwardly express, just calmness and joy. And oftentimes it's me just, making an effort that even if things aren't going right, at the moment, I try to at least outwardly be like, things are okay, this is going to be fine. And, not always try to look at the bright side, but sometimes really just trying to be like, hey, this doesn't have to be such a negative moment. And then I try to, if I'm in a conversation with somebody, sometimes people do need to, discuss hard things that are going on in their life. And I try to definitely listen to them, and be there for my friends if they're struggling with something. But I always do try to help them, instead of wallowing in a negative moment, I try to help them work out what's happening in your life that you can be, grateful for, that you can be happy about, and helping them realize that, anything that they're going through that's difficult is temporary, and there's still ways that they can experience joy even in those moments.
Yes, those encouraging words to our friends, they mean so much, because we know how it feels when someone offers that encouragement to us. And you mentioned gratitude, and I see Lisa has made the comment that gratitude lists are helpful. And that is true. I mean, even if it's a mental gratitude list, or if you write it in a journal, expressing gratitude helps us to see the good in our lives.
No, absolutely. Definitely, I've made that more of a practice. I try to morning talk about things that I'm, either write down things that I'm thankful for right off the bat. And then at night too, because sometimes you can get to the end of the day and be like, oh, that was a terrible day, or I just can't wait to go to bed, and I try to consciously be like, okay, well, here were the, the highlights of the day. Here are the things that went really well. And that definitely helps a lot.
Yeah, well, for you to be doing that, and also be a wife, a mom, and a student, you have really got it together as far as keeping joy in your life.
I'm trying.
It sounds like you're doing a really good job. So tell me, Ellie, do you have a favorite quote or Bible verse that you like about joy that you'd like to share with us?
So I have a couple of verses that I wrote that really helped me. Psalm 16:11 says, "You make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore." And then Romans 15:13 says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit you may abound in hope." And I really love how hope and joy are really intertwined many times in the Bible, because I think it's because of the hope that we have that we can have joy now. And our joy points us to that hope we have in eternity. So
Yeah, that's interesting you would point that out. I do agree with you. And without hope, we don't have joy, and we don't have the hope of everlasting life.
yes.
So hope is an important emotion, and it's important to remember when we are going through the dark times to see the
Yeah.
hope. The hope will fill our hearts with joy, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, Ellie, was there anything else you wanted to share with us today? Anything else about joy or your life or what you have going on?
Well, I'll share just one thought that I had the other day is just knowing that, the Holy Spirit working in us is really visible. So when you have joy in your life, it really draws people to you. And it's a great way to just, build friendships and build connections, because people like to be around, joyful people and be around happy people. And kind of use that in a way to really, reach out to other people and maintain that. And I do want to say that I do like to write about joy. I have a blog. It's called I'mEllieRose.com. And I'm on Instagram, I'mEllieRose_blog. If you want to follow, because I do like to talk about motherhood and joy and things like that.
Hey, that is great. And if you will, when we get finished today, if you'll drop those links in the comments so that I can follow them for one thing, but I'm sure other people are going to want to follow you too. It's sometimes hard to get it when you're just saying it. So we would love to have that in the comments. So, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for sharing your joy with us. You're delightful.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. And if anybody else would like to join us and talk about joy one day, just get in touch with me. Let's fill our world with joy and goodness. You can find all my inspiration on joy on YouTube at Discover Your Joy. So we will see y'all another time. Ellie, thank you so much for your input today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.